Hi friends! This is DaintyTank. Thank you for joining me. Welcome back to Fatal 12. This is part 30 in the series. Oh my god, it's so long. Poke Tutter in the upper eye card area, see the things in the stuff, see what took us 21.75 hours to get to. I'm glad Rinka finally gets it. That's there. So, at least something is happening here, which is good. That's a good thing. Finally. So, we're going to keep going and jump straight back in where we were. Load! So we were meeting Scale. Okay. I do believe this is Scale, yeah. And it's Friday. Location bar. Huh. Never been a fan of the atmosphere of this part of town at night. Come in regular clothing, but it doesn't stop random guys from trying to chat me up. There are also plenty of drunks around, despite it not even being 8 p.m. I came across a sign that I definitely would have missed had I not known about it beforehand, so I make my way through this awful place. Meltground is located here. Its entrance is partially underground. Music from a popular rock band plays over the store's speakers. It's an all-girl band called Silky Strawberry, if I remember right. Seen them on TV before. As for the customers, there's only one, a lone man sitting at the bar. Yo, Federico and I use this place for our meetings, so I've become something of a regular. Well, Federico ended up getting banned after stirring up some trouble here, it seems. What do you want? My treat. I'll have some juice. Whatever's fine. It's obvious someone underage like me shouldn't be in a place like this. There are numerous bottles of various types of alcohol lined up on the shelf behind the counter. They seem expensive, judging by the intricate bottle designs. Scale has a glass already. Inside is a slightly transparent fizzy yellow drink. Okay. Slightly transparent fizzy yellow drink. Yellow can be from probably like a whiskey, maybe a rye. Fizzy soda? Like a whiskey soda? That seems a little weird. Obviously I have no clue what it is, but it doesn't seem like beer. Unless it's cider. It might be cider. While nervous about being in this sort of establishment, I make it a point to not let Scale influence me. I'm given a glass of mixed juice. It even has an orange slice wedged on the rim of the glass. Thinking for it, then Scale gets right to the point. I want to stay in the side of justice as much as possible. And what does that entail exactly? Your justice is very skewed. The idea of justice in our world has been debated to the point that it's become somewhat irrelevant, but I'm a firm believer that there's no ideal definition of what is and isn't just. Then how can you tell if it's on the side of just? You're contrary here. For example, let's say a young boy takes revenge on the person who murdered his parents by killing the killer. Both acts are criminal. But can you say the boy is an evil person for doing so? I can't. What's important is their mindset when doing so. He may have committed a crime, but I would say the boy's actions were just. It's mens rea, is what it is. It's like the criminal intent. If you watch Legal Eagle, he talks about it a lot. Specifically in terms of mens rea. In terms of, criminal intent from our former president. When doing his acts of criminality. Anyways, besides that, moving on to more of his thoughts on killers. Sorry, but I'm not quite understanding you. What is it you're trying to tell me? I once figured that both Alan and Federico were evil, But when I consider what happened to them in their lives, I've come to think that maybe they are, in fact, just. Now to get to my point. Don't you think we should all try to elect and protect ourselves? You remember what Miharu told us, don't you? Divine selection is a ritual carried out to determine a vessel for the goddess. While true that we may be able to live on, Miharu made it clear that things will become tenuous if more than one participant remains. That's why I'm saying we should try it. Parsa allowed us to consider the possibility by hinting at its existence. Ah! Boop. Sorry. We can decide what to do following that once we see what she does. Truth of the matter is that there's nothing else we can do until then. There's a possibility that it's all a ruse, too. She did only say that we would cross that bridge if we ever came to it, after all. Being vague may have been her way of making us avoid that outcome in the first place. What are you implying? What if Parsa herself would disappear if she was unable to determine a soul vessel to inhabit? I gulp way too loudly. He thinks Parsa would actually disappear? That's a bit much for me to process. I guess it's a bit easier to grasp when you consider the fact that she has to remain here. At the same time, I'd much rather understand what becoming her vessel entails, although along with why she has to rely on the body of a human in the first place. I'm not confident that everything would go smoothly in the first place, but, well, the 5 of us made it this far. Wouldn't you say we've got it in us to make it past anything at this point? His voice is full of confidence. The way he speaks reminds me of those politicians who go around and make public speeches. Chances are good that I can't conceal my suspicion toward him with that image in mind. I'm well aware that you can't trust me, considering I tried to elect Miharu despite our alliance. Hardly a just act on my part, after all. Yeah, Mr. Justice. That's why I'd like to hear you to hear about my life first. You likely have all my info at this point, so I don't need to worry about handing you any new cards. Okay. I say nothing, but he opts to continue anyway. Poor Rinka, she doesn't want this. Oh god. My name's Scale Jones, born September 30th, making me a Libra. Scale, Libra, Justice. Oh, it's the balance. Oh, it's so astrology, it hurts. We can do this. His life story follows. He was born in America, along the outskirts of Texas, to be precise. Outskirts of Texas. So, like, Oklahoma? That's not how that works. The outskirts of, like, part of Texas. What part of Texas? Outskirts of Dallas? Outskirts of Houston? Austin? Fort Worth? Any of those? Not that you're going to change, but, like, the outskirts of Texas is, like, New Mexico, Oklahoma, Mississippi. His childhood was as normal as could be. He lived a simple life with his parents, an older brother, and a dog. However, comparisons between him and his brother become common as he grew up. Not only was his brother always top of the class, he was exceptionally skilled at any and all sports. He was even on par with Scale's own friends on the football team who had been scouted. That's great! Scale was compared to his brother every turn due to this, which became a source of stress for him. Okay, well, you are your own person. Led to him coming to hate the brother he once spent so much time with as a child. He seems like a dick. Like, just a spoiled dick. That's what that sounds like to me. I hate you for being better than me. However, it was the camera that saved him from all that. Saved him from what? Was he going to hurt his brother? How bad is this guy? His parents bought him one for his 14th birthday, which he became obsessed with. He was able to find joy in taking pictures. His parents soon came to understand that he was gifted with immense artistic sense. He was different from his brother, and his parents began to accept this. That's a good thing. Apparently, it was Scale's own brother who suggested the camera to his parents, as they were at a loss with what to get him. This caused Scale's hate to turn to respect. Okay, you were like 12 to 14 when you had this hatred? I'm sorry. I'm being very judgmental right now. His interest shifted toward advertising following this, thus he made his way to the city to study graphic design at a local college. Graphic design is different than photography, which is different than advertising. Right? He did this because he figured that it would be hard to earn a living solely through taking pictures. It is harder to do that, yes. You'd have to become like a wedding photographer or a specialized photographer. Or, journalistic photographer and be on the road all the time. His goal was to learn how to make the most from the pictures he would take. Okay, I could see that. Take your pictures and do Illustrator and all of that. I was always called out to the matches our school was part of. High school due to everybody knowing about my hobby. Wasn't too pleased with that in all honesty. We were still in high school, but I thought we jumped it. Okay. Things changed when I went to college and started living on my own, though. It felt like a whole new world opened up to me. So the moment I realized just how engaged it could be to capture big moments in sports. Okay. Each and every moment was valuable, though. You'd never capture the best shot without proper knowledge and expertise. Not to mention luck. You really do love it, huh? That's my honest impression based on his facial expression as he talks about it. He's almost like a little kid telling someone about their favorite toy. Something like the impression I got from our search on his information and what Alan shared with me. He's very human, I guess. He's very American Psycho, I guess, is my impression more than anything. I doubt I need to explain the rest of it up to you when you have all three of my cards, but I will say that the Olympics is the pinnacle of athletic activity to me. Well, it's in Japan. Not that you'd make it through divine selection to, I guess. Okay. I always wanted to capture the moment someone from my country won a gold medal. So much so that it became my regret. However, he moved on into the entertainment industry after a brief stint at the newspaper. To be more blunt, he became a paparazzi. He made sure to detail that too. Of course he did. I need to tell you everything because I am the white man here. It turned out that the father of one of his friends, who had been employed at the real estate firm, was a famous actor. However, the paparazzi had evidence of him committing adultery. What's more, it turned out that it wasn't a single affair. Of course it is. He had been seeing others for years and even had an illegitimate child. I'm not too familiar with foreign films and stuff, but even I'd heard of the person before. Not only did the mass media close in on my friend, he had to deal with the harassment as well. Mostly by those close to the illegitimate child. None of it was major, but it piles up nonetheless. Turns out that person was pretty horrible too. He was jealous of my friend and the career he had built for himself. His logic was that there shouldn't be any difference between their lives, and the same blood runs through their veins. Of course, the real difference was the amount of effort put in to get to where they were. No, it's also probably financial. There's a lot there, Scale. I do not resonate with him. Like, the others I had, like, a little bit of a connection with. Like, Shikasugu, like, oh, it's really lonely. You know, I'm glad that he was able to reconnect with his family. Even you had more of a connective story. This guy's just a brat. A brat who just ruins lives. Some of the harassment constituted minor offenses, too. I laid away on my friend until eventually he chose to kill himself. Whew, that took a turn. Don't unalive yourself. No. Trevor Project. No. No. Pinky Promise. Cool. Huh? Ironically, that served as a trigger to wrap the whole scandal up. Bet you're wondering why I'd become a paparazzi after hearing that, though. Make more sense for me to hate them, wouldn't it? Well, yes. I'm of the mind that my friend's father was most at fault. None of it would have ever happened if he hadn't cheated. There can't be evidence of something that never took place, after all. Yeah. Celebrities have the opportunity to fix their attitude should they be involved in the public scandal. That's why I see the paparazzi as more of a force that can stop them from doing what they shouldn't. No, it's just exposing what they chose to do anyway. It doesn't stop them from anything. That's why I feel that my decision to become one was just. Not that I expect you to understand that logic. Haha. I don't. In scale, that doesn't logic. Oh my god, you pompous white man. With that, Scale's lengthy monologue ends. Thank God. Mansplain. The musical. I now know a side of him that I never would have learned otherwise. Not that you chose to, Rinka. You did not want any of this. He has his own convictions, his own way of life. Can't say I understand or feel for him, but I can't deny he's gone through his fair share in life. Electing Miharu was proof of my weakness. I feared the idea of her being able to gather my information with ease. That fear drove me away from justice. Are you sure? Just sounds like you're just scared of losing your life and you decided to attack first. To that end, I can honestly say that I'm glad she was able to protect herself. You didn't look like it. You looked really upset, like very angry upset when you came down. I'm so angry right now. I'm just boiling in anger. That relief brought me back to the side of justice. Now I want to make the right choice, which is for all of us to survive. So please, believe me. There's nothing in your tale that should make Rinka believe you. Scale places his arms on his side and bows deeply. He must have done some research of all the best ways to influence people from Japan. I believe you. There's no hesitation in my response. I already know how I feel about him. It was the answer I decided on as soon as he started his story, perhaps since he called me even. So, good. He just mansplained at you for nothing. I trusted you would say that. Thank you. But I pass. Huh? That face. As much as I believe you, as much as you've convinced me that you're as human as I am, it doesn't matter. My decision has been made. Even I'm surprised at how cold I sound right now. I never knew I had it in me to speak in this tone. I'm going to elect you. I chug what remains of my juice. The tart flavor makes me wince a little. Following that, I ask the bartender the price and then hand over 1,200 yen. About as pricey as you'd expect from this kind of place. I'm glad I was able to get to know you. Now I'm sure I won't forget you after I elect you. I leave a dumbfounded Scale behind after I walk away. Yeah! Yeah! Rinka! Win! Part of me, my doing that is to avoid him trying to convince me otherwise, as that's the sort of person he is. I knew how I was going to respond, but I'd be lying if I said my conviction didn't waver as I heard him out. I know I'm a big softie. It's in my blood, after all. The hustle and bustle of the streets outside is as loud as expected. Yeah, I know. I somehow feel Like I can hear a scream of pure anguish come from inside the bar. Yeah, he's just self-preservation. That's all that guy is. I grit my teeth and make my way back home. I have no right to feel bad about the decision I've made. I know that. But I can't help but place a shaking hand over my shaking heart. Whoa. Meanwhile, Alan Scorpion finds himself recalling the visit he received from Scale Jones, who sought to exchange information one day ago. He is alone and in the same warehouse as usual. Does everybody know where Alan hides out? And he's just sitting in this abandoned warehouse for nothing? Like, Federico and Odette had their own, like, hotel room. And, like, Federico's probably still in his hotel room. And yet, like... Oh my god. I don't understand this. Okay, here we go. This gutted, abandoned place has become somewhat akin to a home for him. But why, though? Quite the contrast to the way he was used to living in due to the fortune he had built up with his business. A vessel for the goddess. What he heard from Scale was rather hard to believe. Last remaining participant would become the mean Salau Parsa to remain in the real world. He was ready to chalk it up to nonsense at first, but he reconsidered once he learned that the claim came from Habinata Miharu. He has doubts about both the idea of divine selection occurring before this and Miharu being a survivor, but after some consideration, he decided to believe it. It wouldn't make sense to believe in the dream world, but deny other abstract concepts surrounding the goddess. Scale had a suggestion to go along with the information he provided too. Involved getting information out of Shishima Rinka by proposing the idea that everyone could survive. Alan had thought of this once before himself. It's possible to create a situation where no one can elect another person. Starting with numeral 1, all they would have to do is elect the following numeral, who would then protect themselves until the clock's rotation was complete. In the proposed situation, Scale would pretend to have formed an alliance with Alan and Federico. They would get the required information from her. The information would then be used to elect Rinka. A simple con, really. Sorry. Scale's suggestion was one Alan might have gone along with if he had made it sooner. Or perhaps would have gone along with it now had the target not been Rinka. In other words, he turned down Scale's proposal. It's almost time. Alan produces a card as he speaks to himself. Federico Cabinati's regret was what he revealed to Scale in exchange for the information. Alan was able to discern it when he learned the Federico's ring was an old wedding band. However, he also came to learn that Federico had no history of being married. What's more, the ring was made before he was even born. In that case, it had to be his mother's. Upon further research, he discovered that Federico was taken from his mother at a young age. There's no record of her death, though. Alan came to the conclusion that his regret involved meeting his mother once more. Lo and behold, he was correct. He shared that information with Scale. However, his eyes are set on the future, not the past. Oh? Alan knows that, based on his experience with you, a person's card will change to reflect their new regret. At first he thought it was only due to you being a child, but even adults are subject to this. Should something cause a significant impact and alter the values they hold. Not only is the concept of regret dictated by one's own personal perception, but they also serve as a sort of emotion. It's fine with me. If it disappears, then all I need to do is find it again. As soon as he says this, the card in his hand dissipates into little droplets of light. Well now, someone won't be happy about this. Alan knows that Scale will be furious when the information he gained from their exchange disappears like this. He's like to figure out that Alan offered it to him knowing this would happen too. Of course, I doubt he has the luxury of knowing about what. Luxury of worrying about that. Alan has a decent grasp of Scale's current situation. He doesn't have Scale scars himself, but it's easy to assume that Miharu does, having survived her election by him. Alan knows for a fact that this applies to Rinka as well. As such, it's likely that Scale will try to target her. I already know where I stand. Good. He sounds content with his decision, thinking back to the fire he saw in Rinka's eyes. Okay. Do we get backstory? We're flashing back to Tokyo Tower? No. We're in Tokyo Tower. With? Who are we with? His resolve. What? Who are we with? I find myself peering down on the city alone. Tokyo Tower is famous enough that even I know about it. You can see the entirety of Tokyo from its observatories. Almost 2 months have passed since I first came to this country with Odette, Federica. Assuming everything goes smoothly, there will only be 4 more rounds of divine selection. I guess enough's enough. It would have been all over for me yesterday if I were the same guy I was before. I've done nothing but mull over things since eliminating Odette. I even cut out Scale. I'm genuinely on my own now. That's allowed me to notice something, though. Feelings inside me I hadn't realized were there. It was exciting to know I'd finally reached the answer I'd been searching for, but it came a sense of loneliness. It all came to a head last night. My regret card disappeared. In its place arrived a new card with new content. Success. Kind of ironic, really. It's the one thing I always wanted. I've been a loser my entire life. Nothing changed when I grew up. Nothing changed when I joined and then tried to leave the Mafia. Sure as hell didn't change after becoming a participant in divine selection. Part of me figured that'd be alright, though. Even if I was a loser, I'd come out on top in the end. I was sure I'd have the last laugh. I had myself chalked up as the protagonist of the world. Of course you did. Dudes, this is why men should not be in charge of anything. Sorry to any he-hims watching. I realized that was far from the truth thanks to Odette's elimination, though. Never once thought about succeeding or winning. All I've ever done is run away. Well, I was wrong. This entire time, deep down, I knew just how pathetic and worthless I was. I've been averting my eyes from the truth until now. I'll win, no matter what. I don't have time to dwell on the past. Doesn't matter if I'm not the main character. I just want to say that I've made it. I knew it. Been looking up to her the entire time. Federico makes his way from the observatory toward the emergency staircase. He casts his eyes up at the blue sky, inhales deeply, and then exhales. Doubt we'll see each other again. Okay. He takes out the ring he kept close to him all the time and throws it at the horizon. That's kind of littering. Federico knows this is something important. This is the moment when his life can truly begin. Good for you, but oh my god. You're not the protagonist. Oh my god, he's so sweaty. Ew. Did he trick me? While shuffling through the cards in his position, Scale witnesses Federico's regret card vanishing before his eyes. He obtained that card in exchange for invaluable information regarding divine selection. Its disappearance leaves him more agitated than he was already. His agitation stems from his failure to form an alliance with Shizuma Rinka. He never once doubted that everything would go according to plan. After all, he had heard about her interactions with and attachments to previous participants. Numerals 8 and 10 came first, but it extended even to numerals 4 and 5, the former which killed her classmate at one point. He had her pinned down as someone whose empathy prevented her from prioritizing herself at other people's expense. He even made up a story about his friend's death to take advantage of it. That was a made-up story. Ew. Just ew. You are so gross. Rinka had lost a friend before and is faced with the reality that another close friend is a participant in divine selection. That's why Scale thought using a story about his friend would influence her the most. He was convinced that she would be easy to manipulate. He knows for a fact that she believed his story. She believed it so much she felt bad for his supposed loss. And with Rinka on his side, Miharu was sure to follow. He knows that Miharu's regret is Shizuma Rinka herself. That's why he plotted to drag her in through Rinka. The risk of both his own election and his information becoming privy to others would decrease through their alliance. Once that was sorted, he would get in contact with Federico again. He would provide him with Miharu's information and have him elect her. If everything went along to the plan, next round would see him elect Rinka, Federico elect Miharu, and Alan elect Federico. Leaving Alan and himself. Scale knows Alan has the means to gather information on others. Even if Alan has all of Scale's cards, all Scale would have to do is gather Alan's. He had already prepared himself to deal with whatever Parsa had in store for when elections were no longer possible. That was his plan to survive divine selection. Since when did Rinka get so absolute? Why did things turn out like this? He's so gross. She made it crystal clear that she would elect him, despite her newfound sympathy. Scale remains incredulous. Even so, he isn't one to let others decide his fate. Being at a standstill is his worst fear. Cameraman can't afford to give up so fast. Okay, he is a living definition of never giving up. I know what I'm doing is right. There's nothing more just than wanting to live. There's your just. You're so gross. The biggest issue right now is the impending election by Rinka. Her desperation, when it came to saving her classmate, was a sign that she's prone to being reckless for the sake of those around her. Scale did his homework on who those people would be to her. Are you going to put people in danger? This includes her sole surviving family member, of course. Are you going to threaten her grandma? Saturday, after school. We only have classes in the morning today, so the plan is to keep the store open all afternoon. Why do you have classes on a Saturday? I might not understand Japan then. I might be wrong. I'll keep it open all day tomorrow too. It's been closed pretty much often this week, so the least I can do is make sure it's running normal hours during the weekends. Doing so reduces the risk of Scale trying anything funny too. I doubt he'll take any risks with people in the store, not to mention the fact that the street outside is fairly busy. Told him loud and clear that I had every intention of eliminating him. It's entirely possible he'll let his emotions get the better of him, try to get information out of me through less civil means. Do you mind if I have some coffee? Hi, Naomi. Naomi has come along with me today, too. We're taking a break from research today, so I told her to use her Saturday as she would normally do, which led her to saying she wants to come over. Figure it'll be fine so long as she doesn't go home too late. Sure, give me a sec. That makes Naomi my first customer of the day. Today's coffee is based on the blends you can get at standard coffee shops, but with a little arrangement done by my gran. We call it Gran's Blend. Not sour per se, but very bitter. Make sure to brew it by following the notes she left for me, letting it seep for just the right amount of time before pouring it. Oh wow, this one's delicious as well. Phew, I'm actually one of my Gran's favorite blends. She told me it was about time I order ingredients for it, when we last spoke. Wait, does that mean... Yep, a relative of the person she's taking care of is heading out there for a bit, so my gran might be able to come home for a day or so. I want to make some coffee for her when she does. She'd always go on about how there's no bigger indulgence than sitting down with a cup of good coffee, so I want that experience to be my gift to her. Oh, I guess I've been indulging myself a lot then. She offers a shy smile. We grew close after she said the coffee I made was delicious, now I think about it. After our exchange, the day passes by at a relaxed pace. Naomi spends her time reading a book. Meanwhile, I deal with customers like normal and flip through a cookbook whenever I have downtime. Once done with her coffee, Naomi poses a question. This might sound weird, but have you ever been in love before? My voice quivers. This is not a topic I can deal with right now. I've been reading stuff about romance in it, but those don't bother me because it's not related to me. But when it is, oh boy. What makes you ask? Oh, the story I was reading got me thinking. I was wondering what the difference between love and simply having an interest in someone is. Sorry, but you're best off not relying on me for that. I'd be lying if I said I don't care, but I've never given it a lot of thought before. How about you? Me? Well, there's someone who's caught my interest at least. Wow. Never expected that. Dense as a black hole. Then again, I'd made sense after she took charge for the cultural festival. No doubt she made a lot more friends from that. She might have even gotten to know people from other schools. Whew. Could always be someone from her middle school too. Oh my god, she's so dense. It might just be admiration more than anything else though. Not to mention the fact that there are plenty of hurdles to overcome in order to confess. Like, gender? Huh? Miharu's face flashes through my mind unexpectedly. Can't blame Naomi for her reaction. I doubt gender was the first thing that came to mind. I'm not too sure about all that myself. But I think the best way to get your feelings across is to give them a voice. The fact that Miharu was able to do that and confess to me is amazing. Yeah. Meanwhile, still haven't even been able to give her a reply. I'm such a loser. Don't be down on yourself. It's a lot to think about. However, you really haven't stopped to think about it, given you're also in a selection of fate. So, give yourself a little bit of a pass. Just thinking about it is making me all embarrassed. That's why I try to forcefully change the topic. So, who grabbed your interest? Sorry, I shouldn't put you on the spot like that. Feel free to ask if something comes up, though. I'm not too reliable, but I'll do what I can to help. Okay. Oh god, Rinka. By the way, who was it? Was it me? I don't know, because I'll never know. I never know. Her cheery response helped me to settle down a bit. And it gets me thinking. This moment feels as natural as they come. Just a regular part of my daily life, although almost as though we weren't in the midst of divine selection. Honeybee. Once I send today's report to my gran, I return to my room and find Lethe inside. You sure do turn up more often these days. Come here. I slither into bed and curl up with Lethe. I doubt anyone would judge me for spending a day like this every now and then. 2 hours of lazing about later. Decide to take a shower and go to sleep. Okay. Lethe is nowhere to be seen after I finish my shower. Okay. Huh? Oh, it's Sunday. Sunday. You're woken up by a god-awful ringtone on my phone. It's ringing far earlier than my alarm, judging by the time displayed. Then I notice that it's my gran calling, which jolts me awake. She's definitely not looking to chat if she's calling this early in the morning. Maybe I messed up yesterday's report, or maybe something happened with a relative. Now I'm making myself nervous. After a deep breath, I accept the call. Hello. Familiar male voice. Hey. Gasp of surprise slips out of my mouth. It isn't my gran's voice on the other end, it's Gil Johnson's. Proceeds to speak, knowing I'm not about to waste time asking questions. You'll never guess where I am. This little town up in Tohoku region, one you might know quite well actually. He says the name of the town loud and clear. Small place with a small population, almost the exact opposite of Tokyo. It's where my gran was born and where she's been since March. I'm sitting here with your lovely grandmother. Well, maybe that's not entirely accurate. I've taken the liberty of confining her inside a car a couple miles out of town. I could kill an old bag of bones like her with ease, but I'd rather not. Last thing I want is to afford you the opportunity to bring her back by eliminating me. That's where the car comes in. I slipped her some medicine, so she's sleeping tight, nestled in with a briquette. 2 secs. Uses her phone to send her a picture of the situation. As he said, she's tied up in the back of a car with a cold briquette tucked under her arm. The windows are all taped up too. No, how could you? I know exactly what he's hinting at. He wants to kill her through carbon monoxide poisoning. Ugh, that's a horrible way to go. He can't. Don't. Calm down, you know where I'm going with this, right? You want my information, don't you? That way I won't be able to elect you. You've got 5 minutes. Type up your cause of death and regret, along with the relevant information, and send it to me. She's a goner once those 5 minutes are up. If you send me information I can't make a card out of, you realize you're at risk if you kill her, right? You realize you are at risk if you kill her, right? In fact, you already are if word gets out that you've kidnapped her. Oh, don't worry. I'll be sure to pass this off as suicide. Though, let's say I do get caught, so what? I'll just be killed by you soon enough. You've got 2 options here. Save Granny, or let her die. Simple. Assuming my theory's correct, you won't be able to bring her back so long as I don't play a direct role in her death. But hey, who knows? I could be wrong. I certainly won't be giving you an extra time to think it through. 5 minutes and counting, got it? He ends the call right away. Ah! Same feelings here. Can't help but scream. He's got my grandmother. He kidnapped my one and only family member. It might be possible to save her by eliminating him, but if worse comes to worst, I can't risk it though. What do? I'll never be able to live with myself if I let her die. There's no guarantee that I'll be able to bring her back. What's guaranteed is that she'll be safe if I die in her place. Oh, it's all my fault. My inability to realize that he would target someone other than me or Naomi caused this. My hesitation to speak to her about divine selection out of fear that she wouldn't believe me caused this. It's my fault. All mine. Okay. I don't like this. But we're also getting towards the end of our time, so I'm gonna stop it here. But let me know your thoughts on what's going to happen here. Want to see if you think she should give up her information they exchange, or if she should risk it. I want your thoughts here. Definitely leave them in the comment section down below. With that, I'm gonna stop. Love you all, and I will see you next time. Bye!